Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Backstage the series. I am the co-creator and writer and director of Upstaged the series, and we will be talking about episode 9 today. And with me are legendary performers Rikki Travolta, Mark Holmes Newton, Sarah Conrad, Gina Phillips, and as Desmond, Robin Wilson. Hello, everybody.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you guys so much for taking the time to come and talk about the episode. How are you all doing?
Great.
Absolutely
Good.
great.
Great.
Wonderful.
All right.
Wish we were there.
Wonderful.
So we're just going to talk a little bit about episode 9. Episode 9 is a continuation of episode 8. As everybody saw in episode 8, Terry had hurt her ankle and had asked Dwayne and Desmond to go and give the new crew a tour of the theater, which resulted in them being locked in the basement in a really the only real cliffhanger that we had in season 1. And I put this together specifically to give the crew a little bit of chance in the spotlight, knowing that, if for some reason we did get picked up, that everybody was going to play a continuing role in the second season. So I really wanted to give viewers an opportunity to get to know you guys, get to know your characters as they related to each other and related to the rest of the main cast. So let's just go around and let me know if you have anything you remember about the episode, any anecdotes or anything you wanted to share with everybody. Rikki, let's start with you.
Well, the thing that really stands out in my mind is in the scene I had to hold up Mark, lift him up at one point, and I had just had a herniated disc in my back. And so we were very limited in the amount of times that I could lift him, but we managed to get the shot, and so everything worked out great. But that was my big fear of the episode was, how am I going to be able to do this?
Yeah, and I didn't even realize that until we were done filming, because nobody said anything. And that reminds me of Robin, this concerns you. There was an episode earlier on where we had Robin come around the corner, and we had a crash mat down, and he supposedly slips on the waxed floor and falls on his back. Do you remember that, Robin?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And we had Robin do that probably 10 times.
Yeah.
Like run around the corner, jump in the air, and fall flat on his back on this mat. And we're like, do it again. I want to see more of your feet in the air. Lift your legs high. And what a sport you were, Robin. And I found out a couple of weeks later that you were, I think at the time you were in your late 50s, was it?
No, I was 63. You tried to kill me. I was 63.
63.
Yeah.
But again, had we known, but you certainly you can't tell from the footage, and we couldn't tell on that day. So God bless you. We have a special guest star in Rikki's lap.
Yes, this is Sweet Baboo. She decided to join the show.
Oh, nice. That's a big kitty.
Sarah, what do you remember from episode 9?
Ooh, I remember that I was one of the designated lighting people. It was so dark there, and I was one of like the 2 or 3 people that had to light up the space with my phone. That was challenging. I'm like sitting there with my cell phone going like this. And so I got a little backstage lighting design experience. I was really excited about the Phantom of the Opera a little bit that I did with Josh.
Yeah, you got to do a little musical number in this one.
Right.
That was fun.
You weren't nervous at all about doing that a cappella?
I mean, a little bit, but I was more excited. I think Josh had a great voice, so we kind of just blended together.
I was so impressed with your voice. It is just beautiful.
Gosh, thank you.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes in the series is as you two are singing, and it sounds so beautiful together. And we pan around to everybody, and Greg and Kelly. Kelly, right? Yeah, Greg and Kelly got their head. They've made up from their altercation, and then we get to Robin. He's just rolling his eyes because Joe McCormick's bawling his eyes out. That was just such a funny scene, and so well done by everybody. Mark, you had a lot to do in this episode in terms of being an actor, playing a character who was acting a role. Can you talk about a little bit about what kind of challenge that is for you?
Oh, it was fun. The challenge was it was in so many places it was so dark, and then and so I had to like fake a limp, like I was just about having a heart attack and being led around down this basement of little catacombs, and it was a lot of fun actually. But the thing that I actually felt the worst about was actually Rikki trying to hold me up, and then he had to carefully put me back down. So, I mean, every time he did that, and we had, I don't know, many takes.
Oh,
we should have told Jeff about that,
Yeah.
But,
I certainly wouldn't have had you do it.
Yeah, I mean, how many takes do we
It
have
worked
to
out
get?
well. It
Yeah,
worked.
right. We could have put Joel in your clothes, Rikki, and
Yeah, Joel could have been my
your
stunt
body
double.
But anyway, that whole basement scene was really fun. It was really fun.
Yeah.
The lighting was excellent, Sarah. The lighting was fabulous.
It was such an interesting location because everything else is usually on the stage or in the office areas. And if anybody's had a chance to see the Opera House, it's a 120-year-old national historic landmark in Woodstock, Illinois, and that's where we shot predominantly 95% of Upstaged. And the basement has not been updated probably since I would say the late 1800s, right? Would you guys agree?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, I mean, it is the stoniest, creepiest place.
But I was surprised at how uncluttered it was. Really, it was very neat for an old basement.
Joe runs the. I don't know if Joe's the building manager there or not, but he keeps everything really well organized. Which when we went down there to scout the location, there really wasn't anything for us to change that he had to move in or take out. Except in that back kind of corridor where we set up all of the sound equipment and everything, all the recording equipment. It was kind of our base of operations. But otherwise, everything that you guys moved through and everything that where we shot is pretty much how it is, except there's usually lights on. And that was no special effects involved in that. That was just dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Well, I was expecting spider webs and all kinds of dust and stuff and everything.
Crowdy.
It was like, I mean, Rikki, lifted me off the floor several times, and I expected to be all dirty.
Now, I don't know if anybody is superstitious at all, but was anybody creeped out at the possibility that there might be longtime residents of the Opera House hanging out?
It crossed my mind. Yeah.
No.
In fact, I had a hard time sleeping that night.
No, I wasn't looking for any Caspers down there. No.
Now, Gina, let's go to you. You actually had the, if there was what I would say an emotional arc, it was between your character and Greg in that episode, and it was kind of the culmination of a storyline that we'd been running through several previous episodes. Given the location and the situation, what was that like, and how, and the fact that you couldn't be, I mean, there was really in any of your performances really nothing to help you sell the performance. There was no set dressing to be, there was no lighting to be spoken of. So Gina, how did you approach that dialogue for your character?
Oh, good question, Jeff. I actually have that scene on my acting reel because I like it so much. Rikki Lee, you are on my acting reel. I think I sent that
honored
that you would see it. But yeah, it was actually easier, Jeff, if that makes sense, because it was dark and I couldn't see all of the lights and cameras and crew, and I could just focus on Greg, Rikki Lee, and do the scene. And it's a pretty sharp arch. Arch to my character. It's not subtle. It's, I'm really mad at you. Oh, I love you. So
we had one episode to fix it.
It was a quick arc. But yeah, it was easier to make it feel realistic. In the dark. Yeah. It feel acting like I was acting. Yeah, it was almost easier that way with just my cell phone. Yeah. Okay. But I would say, if you don't mind me making a point,
sure.
Before we went downstairs, we were sort of like waiting in there was like a well that you step down to get into. We were there for a really long time. So I don't know if they were, obviously they were setting up, because we did have some lines there, at the top of the well, where we're talking to each other before we descend down into the catacombs. But we were there for a really long time. And that's when I started thinking, like, what is happening? What am I getting myself into? But once we were down there, like Mark said, it was really clean and it wasn't what I expected at all. So it was the crew, just the sweetest people, and the other actors to work with. I felt like we really bonded down in the basement compared to the rest of the cast. Like, we were the cool kids,
Well, if you watch the episode, that was the point. Get you guys to bond together into units.
Right.
But it worked on so many levels.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so much fun to do. I mean, the whole cast was so incredibly talented, and you gave us this wonderful meat to chew for this episode. And we really just saw everybody's character really come to life. It was a really fun episode to do.
Yeah, it was really unique too. It was a pretty unique scene. Just doing it just based on our cell phone lighting, and it looked really cool. Just looking at the footage, it just looked so cool.
Yeah, it really pulled off. And then what I remember, Gina, to go back to your point, is I remember doing all of that shooting, because we would shoot Robin, we would shoot you and Dwayne in the stairwell, and then we'd have to come around and shoot all the crew standing up at the thing. Yeah. And then we shot in the basement, and then we had to go up and shoot or record the dialogue that plays once the basement is closed at the end of episode 8. Remember, there's all of that.
In the dark. Yeah.
Yep.
And I remember just standing around the boom mic there in the garage for what seemed like 2 hours, just recording it over and over again. And if you think about it, like, we would shoot these in mostly 3 episode blocks. There was episode 10, which we kind of shot separate by itself. but it's amazing to me, still even having done it, how much time is spent for how little footage you get out of it. You know what I mean? I mean, we would spend a solid week of 9 to 10 to 12-hour days to get a 20-minute episode of Upstaged done. And it really is a credit to, really, I think, the drive that an actor has. Because there is, especially in a film, there is no immediate gratification. There's no audience jumping to their feet at the end to clap for you. There's just, okay, let's move on to the next scene, and then you hope, first of all, that it actually gets put up somewhere where you can see the end results. A lot of times you don't even see that, and you're just like, it really is a love of the craft. I think that you don't really see in any other profession, and never more so evidence than on something like Upstaged, where no one really got paid for that. So I just want to say how grateful I am to you guys for putting up with us and for sacrificing so much of your time and talent.
Oh, thank you for including us. We had we wouldn't do it if we didn't love it. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, and thank Joel.
And that brings us to Robin Wilson, who is the voice of reason in the basement. Robin,
the whole series, really, he's the voice of.
There's the scene after Sarah and the young man sing.
Yes.
And they this is like, everybody follow me, and this is why I hate cats.
Yes.
I always want to turn around and say, if someone sings something from Cats, I'm going to kill you in this basement. I just, that was a fun episode. I had a lot of fun doing that one. And it was, I'm not an actor. I'm not nearly on the same playing field as you guys, because I feel you have a lot more acting experience. I just happened to fall into this because of Joel looked me up and asked me to do it, because we did a few shows together. At the Opera House. We were in
Crazy for You, and we all did Guys and Dolls together.
Yeah. That was it. That was the extent of my acting experience. So
those were the only 2 shows you did?
Yeah, I did Annie, Get Your Gun.
Oh, okay.
I was only in 3 shows my whole life. So I was honored to do this. And actually, I found it very interesting, especially the technical aspect of it all. Like how do you film and setting up and all this stuff. I found that extremely interesting. So much that now when I watch something, I try to figure out how it was done. Right.
So, I think that kind of ruins it for everybody who's actually done film. You're looking at it with such a technical eye. That you're like, oh, look at that extra back there.
I find myself doing that. Before it was all magic. Now I know it's not.
Now, had everybody else had a lot of film experience before coming to Upstaged?
I had mostly theatrical background, a couple movies and one TV thing. But this was, and I'd taken 8 years off from the industry altogether. This was one of the first things I did coming back as an actor.
Wow.
And it was a lot of fun. It was entertaining, and it was educational at the same time. I learned a lot that I've been able to apply to roles that I've had since then.
Yeah. Most of my credits have been theater as well. I had done a couple of film things too, but yeah, it's such a totally different experience doing film and TV, being behind the camera and doing theatrical work. I mean, there's some similarities, but I think Jeff is right. There's no instant gratification.
No, and it's so intimate.
Yeah.
Too, that every every flaw or every mistake. I mean, I heard another actor once referred to it is that the camera is a BS detector, and that it can see right through you all the time. So you can't fake it because you have a 25-foot distance from you in the audience when you're doing there. And Gina and Mark, you guys had been primarily film related experience, or no?
No, I'm a stage actor, but coming back after kids, I was kind of doing both at the same time. So this wasn't my first project back after kids, but it was one that was as extensive as you put on. I mean, it was really impressive to watch, how extensive, your crew was, and how many cameras you had going and lights, and it was quite an experience to watch all of that go on.
Yeah, I have to say all credit for that has to go to Joel Bennett, because he is the only one of us that when we started this knew what he was doing. He had gone to Columbia Film School and graduated from Columbia. So, when we started this, because my experience also very theatrically based, and so I really had no idea of the background of how to make a film, I knew how to get performances because I had directed before, but really he was the one who was like, this is the equipment you need, this is this is how you want to set up the cameras, this is how you want to stage the people. You have to rehearse them before every scene to make sure that what you want is right there. And again, sorry, I just got a notification. This meeting will end in 10 minutes. And again, it's a credit. I have to credit the entire team for everyone coming together and working together and encouraging each other, and just being so positive throughout the whole learning process. I think we created something pretty special.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes, definitely.
I think, Jeff, because you cast most of the actors, especially the principals, were all stage actors and primarily musical theater stage actors. And the rest of us as well. A lot of us are stage actors and musical theater actors. I think that adds to the feel of the show. It raises all of the emotions a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so it's more than a sitcom. It was almost slapsticky. It was almost like bigger than life, even though it was a workplace comedy. And if you watch The Office, they're bigger than life. They're not dull, boring people. They're, these weird characters. And I think you did a great job, especially since your script is full of weird people. You did a great job casting big actors that use big emotions, and yeah.
Well, that was the other thing, because after I had cast all of the roles, as I would then write remaining episodes, it became easier for me because I could hear you speaking in my head. I could see how you would look in a particular. When we're first creating it, you're kind of writing scripts in a void and writing what you want the characters to be like and what you want them to do. But then once you cast it, the actors take ownership of the characters, and then you guys started telling me what you wanted to say and how you wanted to say it and everything, in a sense, So it really was a lot of fun, and I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can see. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say that I was very impressed by how professional everybody was, and just all the actors and the crew, and just the space was beautiful. I was really, really impressed. I was really impressed.
Yeah, it's a beautiful building. So we were all very lucky and all very blessed to be with each other and spend a little bit of time together.
Yeah, I liked it. Hey, Jeff.
Yes.
When will episodes 12 and 13 be available? I have not seen them.
That's a wonderful question, Robin. The only place they have been aired was during a theatrical release that we put on for people who had donated to the GoFundMe and friends and family of the cast. And I know a lot of people couldn't get there that night. So as part of this operation with the Woodstock Opera House partnership, I meant operation. I don't know, but we are going to be premiering episodes 12 and 13 where they would naturally fall after episode 11. So
okay.
If this is week 9, we have only 3 short weeks until everybody gets to see episode 12.
All right.
So, yeah, that's something to look forward to. Breaking news. They actually So, all right. Well, I have to get going here. I'm about to run out of time. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining us. I love you all. I miss you all. Have a great quarantine and be kind to each other.
Certainly. All right. Take it easy.
Bye-bye.
Nice seeing everybody.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye. And we'll see you all next week here on Backstage the Series.
All right.
Thanks. Bye.
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 And they all left. They just all left. Forget it. Why? Why?